So pre-designated rally locations for active shooter plans. Here I'm at a school, an elementary school down in Texas, and this is such a perfect example of what this looks like. So right behind me here we have this school, literally right there. And over on this end here, you can see there's a fence and a grass line right over there. Got a couple of trees here, and this, where you see all the red curb, is an entryway from the main street where law enforcement and ambulances are most likely going to be responding. Now, back over to this angle, here you have the school. Now, this is the eastern portion of the building. You have 4 cardinal directions to where you have pre-designated rally locations that you drill the students to in a calm manner, just like you would a fire drill, so that they can actually recognize where these rally locations are. So for example, this school is less than 100 yards away from me right now. However, if the students exited one of these doors or building of this building because they needed to evacuate because there was an incident taking place, they could easily run up to that fence line right over there and trace that fence line past the trees to a pre-designated, a marked location. You could even put something like this sign in right here, except color it or label it A or 1. Doesn't really matter what naming convention you use. I mean, you could even put E for East. You know, go to the green East location if you're on this side of the building. You're not going to lose kids because you're less than 100 yards from the school. You're outside of the line of sight from anybody who would potentially even be trying to engage you from the building, which most active shooter incidents are over in less than 4 minutes. Police are going to be there super quick, especially down here in Texas in a somewhat urban area, suburban area, urban area. Cops and everybody are coming really freaking quick these days when it comes to that. And so good on you, law enforcement. But what's not good on you is advocating for these lockdown policies whenever the threat is inside of the building. It does not work. So stop doing it. Stop advocating for it. It is the #1 way kids get killed. They either get killed in the initial round of gunfire or while hiding. That's it. Kids don't get killed while they're vacating the schools. Why? Because they don't vacate the schools. They sit there and they wait for law enforcement to get there. 4 minutes. Most active shooters are over in 4 minutes, and they wait for law enforcement to tell them to evacuate the school. Why are we waiting for law enforcement to tell people to evacuate the school? Get away from the shooter as fast as you possibly can. Give 4 pre-designated rally locations in each cardinal direction around the school because it is fluid. It's not like a fire where the fire is going to be static and growing. It's a variable. It's a dynamic environment. So what do? You mitigate the likelihood for casualties by having 1 in each cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west. Here, we are on the east side of this particular building. All you got to do is exit from this door right over here, run across this parking lot. I'd probably recommend fixing these fences out somehow. You don't want to just channelize all your students going through this fence, and this fencing is not serving any purpose anyways. I don't even know why it's there. It does nothing. And this is the reason why you need to hire actual security consultants and professionals when it comes to creating these emergency operations procedures. Law enforcement, I love you to death. You are not doing a very good job at creating these emergency operations procedures because they don't make any sense. Locking people down in place makes no sense. All right. And if you give me a reason as to why you do that or why you advocate that, if a school ever told me a reason, this is why we locked down all the students in place, and it made sense, I'm sold. I'm not some ignorant person who's going to sit here and be like, no, it needs to be my way. Not at all. However, having lived and trained for active shooter environments throughout my entire career in the special operations community, I can tell you with complete certainty at this point in my life, having somewhere less than 150, 200 meters away, yards away, where teachers can easily corral kids, and having something called a guardrail, which in this case would be that. I don't know if you can see the wooden fence right there. Yeah, you probably can. Kids, run to the wooden fence. Follow it to the road. Stay in the grassy area. All right, that is, and have it labeled with a sign just like that, except have some sort of label on that sign. Don't just have a blank piece of aluminum. That is how we get kids out of the school in a safe and effective manner whenever there's these incidents taking place. When it comes to the drills, you don't just have random people running in there shooting blanks off and fake blood and having you attack the shooter. That That is not a smart thing to be teaching little kids, even teenagers. Attack the shooter with staplers. Now, if you are a high school and you've got some Jack Diesel football players, yeah, beat the hell out of that guy. Teach them how to fight somebody with a gun. That's just a great skill to have to begin with. Learn how to fight somebody when you're unarmed and they are armed. That is an incredible life skill that you could be teaching kids in schools. Hell, hire me, I'll come teach all the kids in the schools how to do it. It's not hard. You get behind the gun, you beat the crap out of the person. Especially when you're some 6'4", 220-pound senior who's been playing football since he was 3 years old. You know how to freaking beat a dude down, all right? Like, I don't understand why that isn't the demographic we're focusing on when it comes to fighting the shooters. Instead, we have this lockdown in place policy. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Well, Joe, what if the shooter comes chasing after the kids while they're out in public? Then scatterburst, starburst. What if it to death all you want? It doesn't matter, because the fact is it's harder to shoot a moving target that is moving away from you than it is to shoot a still target. And hiding in the classroom doesn't do anything. First of all, bullets go through doors. Second of all, you're 30 perfect students per classroom. All we can get behind the concrete wall, if you even have a concrete wall in your building, it's not going to work. Marjorie Stoneman, it taught us that. Nicholas Cruz pulls the fire alarm. All the kids come pouring into the hallway. What do you think? They went to their designated classrooms after that? No. And that's why 14 out of the 17 people who were killed in Marjorie Stoneman were in classrooms. I may be a little bit off on that number, so don't sit here quoting me on it. The fact of the matter remains, though, it doesn't even matter. The vast majority of people who were killed in that shooting and in a lot of other shootings are hiding. They're hiding, and it's a dumb way to try to resolve or to try to respond to these types of situations. Get the kids out. Have 4 pre-designated rally locations in each cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west. When you drill in a calm and cool, relaxed manner, just like you would a fire drill. Hey kids, alarm's going off. Let's all stand up, grab our belongings, and let's go ahead and move in. I don't even know if this is recording. I think it might be attached to my car right now, and I'm gonna go crazy if it is. All right, get the kids out to the drill sites, have them become familiar with where it's at, so in the event that they do get scattered, which probably will happen if there's ever a tragedy at your facility, they'll get scattered, but you know what? They're gonna know exactly where to go. Guess what? Line of sight. If I'm a teacher and I have any situational awareness about myself, of course you drill this. Hey, students, come over here to this location. You're not gonna expose yourself to a volley of gunfire when you have an active shooter incident, a singular active shooter incident inside of the building. And again, law enforcement are gonna be there so quickly that the odds of them being able to leave the school and come out and start just shooting more people down, highly unlikely. Again, you're out in the open, you could run, much easier to survive. Laws of probability are incredibly higher as opposed to just sitting in some sort of a classroom. All right, I hope that this is recording. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Love you all. Be kind.